Hello, hello. I just wanted to get some thoughts out there about the HBO documentary Money Electric, the Bitcoin mystery. Uh, Pretty big news for Bitcoin. There's obviously a lot of Bitcoin documentaries out there, um, but they're pretty low production quality, more fit for YouTube. It's nice to see something on real TV. And there's a guy, Ron's Crypto Therapy, that was nice enough to invite me to talk on that movie, and I blew him off on the live premiere. I couldn't do it, and then we tried to do another hookup. We had to reschedule, so that's still going to come up. I'm still going to hook up with him and flesh out the movie in depth, but I at least wanted to get some stuff out. It's been building inside me about the Bitcoin movie. Um, Satoshi's obviously something I'm passionate about. So to see an actual filmmaker put something out there was exciting. Uh, I felt like a lot of the people I respect, at least on Twitter, had really negative things to say about it. Um, but I liked it. I liked it a lot. I thought the just from a movie making perspective, he spoilers, he almost makes you think it's going to be Adam, and then he switches it up on the end and puts the name Peter Todd out there as the person he thinks is most likely to be Satoshi. And I thought he did a pretty good job. I actually, I'm not going to start breaking down, Peter Todd, all the pros and cons of that. Um, but from a movie making perspective, I thought he did a pretty good job. Um, so um, I wrote down a couple of notes here. Oh, at the beginning, the guy, he's showing clips from YouTube. There's like, if you search who is Satoshi Nakamoto on YouTube, there's this really old guy who starts saying, in my opinion, Satoshi is, it's like a stupid video, but it gets a lot of views. I was so narcissistic that I thought maybe one of my videos would be featured in there, but unfortunately not. Um, Barely Sociable was another big YouTuber who did a Satoshi documentary. If you look at the beginning of his video, he's kind of critiquing or making fun of other Satoshi hunters out there. And he quickly goes over my video. If you look, my Hal Finney video is quickly mentioned in the Barely Sociable documentary. So, I was narcissistic enough to think I might be in the HBO documentary, but uh, I was not so lucky. Um, the guy I thought who kind of stole the show was Amir Taki. Uh, I don't actually know a lot about him, but his interviews were just nuts. He's like, you know, I was in house arrest for a year for terrorism. Uh, when you think about a real hacker, something like from Mr. Robot, he's like the real deal. So I'd like to get more screen time with him. The stuff I did not like, obviously, Samson Mao is extremely cringe. Um, I get that the documentary has to work with the stuff that it's given. So he must have sent the invite out to a bunch of different people. Only some said yes, and that's what he had to go with. Um, so Samson, being a uh, uh, fame seeker, put himself out there. But I can't stand him. And he invited like some like teenage model to like be with him. He must have like told her like, "Oh, I'm getting a movie made about me. Come hang out with me." So that was not enjoyable. But Amir Taki was awesome. He called Gavin Andresen a boomer normie. Um, and I like that Nick Szabo made an appearance in there. Looks like he confronted him at an airport, and Nick was just like, "Go away." So it would have been a very different movie if Nick Szabo contributed. If the people who said yes kind of dictated where this movie was going to go. So that was Adam, that was Samson, and that was Peter Todd. So those are, my initial reactions. This is the first time I've done a live. I'm trying to see if there is um a chat. Maybe I'm not monetized yet on YouTube, so there's no chat. Hmm. Test 1, 2, 3. Things to figure out for next time. What else did I put in my notes? Oh, I just made a note that he did a really good job of uh, synthesizing or putting into a small, uh, you know, bite-sized piece of information two really big topics: the block size war and Craig Wright. Those are two topics that could have easily like derailed a movie, but I thought he did a pretty good job of addressing it, giving info in a neutral way, and moving on. When he first started talking about the block size war and the size of blocks, I started to like cringe a little bit because I just felt like it was going to start covering this information that was, had been gone over a million times before, and it's just hard for journalists to capture like all of this uh, complicated messaging. But it's a sign of intelligence to take a complicated issue and like shrink it down and just address it quickly, which I think he did. Bad movies take a simple fact and stretch it out for like length. A lot of YouTubers do that where, they'll take a little bit of info and just stretch it. Um, and I hate when movies do that. But, you know, I thought this HBO movie did a good job taking a lot of info and putting it together in an easy to understand way. So, kudos to him. When I went into it, I tried to think to myself, if I was a person who didn't know anything about Bitcoin, would I enjoy this? And I think the answer is yes. I would recommend this to anybody, um, you know, the general public, friends or family, people who don't know a lot about Bitcoin. I think they'll enjoy it. So, you know, I want to get into this with Ron when we do our stream, but we consume a lot of Bitcoin information. We consume a lot of Satoshi information. But this movie's still entertained. At least I thought so. A lot of the initial reaction is really negative, hitting on that the movie leaves information out, that it's immoral to name Satoshi, and that Peter Todd, is not Satoshi, and that's not accurate. Um, I guess I disagree with two of those. I thought it did have a lot of info, and I think the idea of outing Satoshi is a little bit of a moot point. Satoshi did a good enough job of hiding their identity that, you know, whoever gets called out, it is what it is. Maybe there's info there that can get tied to them, but um, the taking this high ground to not talk about Satoshi, you're you're thinking you're more important than you really are. And I think there was compelling info about Peter Todd. Peter Todd obviously was involved really early on with Bitcoin. He had some curious messages at the beginning. Um, he did say that he lost a lot of Bitcoins, and I forget his phrasing, but he said, you know, I've lost more Bitcoin than anybody. Um, which again, these are just strenuous pieces of evidence, but it's not nothing. For people to say, "Oh, that's all BS." I mean, it's better than there are worse connections out there that people try to make, pointing the finger to other Satoshi candidates. So, I don't necessarily agree with this conclusion of the movie. My only point is that the filmmaker did a good job. I do think he introduced some new information. Leading up to this, it seemed like the internet thought it was going to name Len Sassaman as the creator. I don't know where that rumor started, but that was obviously not the direction the movie took. But point being, would I recommend? Yes. And so I hope to, eventually do something more with Peter Todd. But I just wanted to put some thoughts to pen to the internet, because I think a movie like that doesn't come out often for Bitcoin. I hope more do, but if I had to sit down and make like a top 10 Bitcoin movies, I don't think you could even do it. I don't think there is 10. Um, I'd have to really dig and think to do like a top five. And yeah, as it stands right now, October 2024, I think Money Electric, The Bitcoin Mystery, is the best Bitcoin movie that's ever been created. I don't think that's being, fantastical or exaggerated. So, in the future, I'll try to get some guests. I'll try to figure out streaming chat, some overlay, and how to add some pictures in here. But for now, thanks for checking in. And yeah, if you want to talk Bitcoin, you want to talk Satoshi, let me know. Thank you.